For a long time, bites from the venomous Habu snake were a major issue in a few regions of Japan. The snake had a big impact on people's lives. For example, statistics show that in 1980, around 400 people were bitten, and some of them didn't survive. All the bitten people were in serious danger because there were no antidotes for a long time. And when antidotes did appear, they still had to get to the medicine with difficulty. The antidote was made in liquid form, so it couldn't be stored in rural areas where there was no electricity or proper storage conditions. But it's those rural areas where the bites usually happen. In the end, Japan came up with a solution that seemed like pure genius. Japanese bring in an animal that eats snakes and is immune to their venom. Guess what happened next? This animal definitely became invasive. We will find out today what happened after bringing this animal to Japan. We will also know how farmers deal with millions of invasive rats in Hawaii. But before we start, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive right into the story. You've probably already guessed what animal we're going to talk about. I even suspect it's on the thumbnail. In 1979, about 30 small ruddy mongooses were brought into Amami Oshima Island to deal with local threats, and the wildlife of Japan wasn't prepared for such guests. The mongoose population on the island was skyrocketing, hitting a peak of 10,000 by 2000. But the main issue here was that the Habu snake population wasn't decreasing. Although at first glance, mongooses seemed like the perfect solution, but they weren't interested at all in killing the Habu snakes. That because mongooses are active only during the day. As for the Habu, it's nocturnal, meaning the animals rarely cross paths. In addition, snakes are relatively tricky prey, and catching them takes some effort. And why bother trying when there's plenty of easier prey around, like mice and rabbits? In the end, the mongooses turned out to be completely useless for the job they were brought for. But they were very successful at breeding. About 15 endemic species were harmed because of the mongoose, which was actually introduced with good intentions. The farming sector was hit too. Mongooses preyed on farm birds and consumed fruits from the fields. In 2000, the Japanese government started an active program to reduce their population. Since then, about 32,000 individuals have been captured. The last recorded mongoose capture happened in April 2018, and in the 6 years since, no new cases have been reported. Seems there's no one left to catch. This led experts to decide that there were no more mongooses left on the island. It took almost 25 years to rid the island of the invasive species, and nearly half a century to wrap up the whole project. Although the extermination of a huge number of mongooses sounds kind of incredibly cruel from the perspective of preserving local species, Japan did everything very right. And I think this is the first time I mentioned a victory for humans against any invasive species. Also, snake bites have become less of a problem. In 2020, there were only around 60 bites. This decrease is not thanks to the mongooses, but rather because the antidote has become much more accessible, which has prevented fatal cases. Since 1992, there hasn't been a single recorded death from a Habu bite. The 1800s and up until the mid-1900s, the most valuable commodity in Hawaii was sugarcane. And one of the main problems the Hawaiian sugar plantations dealt with back then was rats. The rats chewed on the sugarcane stalks because of their sweet taste. The rat invasion destroyed a significant amount of sugarcane. In the 1880s, 72 mongooses from Jamaica were brought to the Big Island and grown there to get rid of the rats. But rats are nocturnal animals also, such as the Habu snakes, which means they're active only at night. And mongooses are active only during the day, as we mentioned before. Sounds familiar? These two haven't even interacted with each other. And instead of clearing the cane fields of rats, mongooses started wiping out native species of animals and plants. Numerous bird and turtle species are in danger, as their eggs are completely vulnerable to voracious predators. The situation was getting increasingly worse. In the end, special barriers were installed to prevent mongooses from entering nature reserves and protected areas. But it seems, unlike Japan, Hawaii missed the chance to act. Fighting the mongooses is already too late. Over the years, mongooses have spread throughout the Hawaiian Islands, establishing populations in various habitats. Their adaptability and rapid reproduction have made controlling their population a challenging task for conservationists. Conservation efforts in Hawaii have focused on controlling the mongoose population through trapping and eradication programs. But the vast distribution of mongooses and their elusive nature pose significant challenges to conservation initiatives. The mongoose invasion remains a significant environmental challenge in Hawaii until now. Thanks for watching. I think you owe me a like. Go on, don't be lazy. See you later.